The survival of endangered species is hanging by a thread, and genetic rescue might just be the lifeline they desperately need. Since 1970, global wildlife populations have plummeted by an alarming 73%, largely due to habitat fragmentation that isolates small groups of animals. This isolation often leads to inbreeding, which reduces genetic diversity and results in fewer healthy offspring. The Pacific pocket mouse in California perfectly illustrates this crisis. Restricted to just 3 tiny populations, this endangered rodent has faced severe genetic challenges. But here's where it gets controversial. A recent study reveals that mixing individuals from these isolated groups in a controlled breeding program significantly improved their survival and reproduction rates, despite concerns about their genetic differences. Sarah Fitzpatrick, an associate professor of integrative biology at Michigan State University, who was not involved in the study, emphasized the rarity and importance of such findings. She told Mongabay, examples of genetic rescue in conservation are still few and far between, so any solid empirical evidence is a major contribution. The Pacific pocket mouse, Parognathus longamembris pacificus, gets its name from the distinctive external cheek pouches it uses to carry food. Historically, this tiny creature roamed from Los Angeles down to the Mexico border. However, urban sprawl and development have shattered its habitat into fragments, causing the species to vanish from public view for 2 decades. It was only recently that researchers rediscovered 3 small, isolated populations, all suffering from inbreeding and diminished health. Genetic rescue offers a potential solution by introducing unrelated individuals from different populations to increase genetic diversity. But this method isn't without risks. One major concern is outbreeding depression, where genetically distinct individuals might produce offspring that are less fit or even sterile. Adding to the complexity, one of the Pacific pocket mouse populations has 58 chromosomes, while the other 2 have 56. This chromosomal difference raised serious doubts about whether these groups could successfully interbreed. Conservation guidelines typically advise against genetic rescue if populations have been separated for over 500 years, inhabit distinct environments, or have chromosomal differences, criteria that apply to these mice. However, Aaron Wilder, a conservation genetics expert with the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, led a groundbreaking study to test whether these rules might be too strict. Starting in 2012, her team began a breeding program combining mice from all 3 populations to gather real-world data. We already had data on how well individuals with parents from different populations survived and reproduced, Wilder explained during a video call with Mongabay. The results were eye-opening. Mixing the populations increased genetic diversity and led to more healthy offspring across all pairings. While mice with mismatched chromosomes produced slightly fewer healthy young compared to those with matching chromosomes, they still outperformed the highly inbred mice by a significant margin. The benefits of crossing these populations and mixing their genes outweighed the drawbacks of having different chromosome numbers, Wilder said. To test if these encouraging lab results translate to nature, researchers have reintroduced mice from the breeding program into areas where the species had disappeared. Early observations suggest the genetic rescue benefits persist in the wild. Wilder believes these findings could reshape conservation strategies for other endangered species facing similar genetic challenges. Even when populations seem like prime candidates for outbreeding depression, that doesn't necessarily mean genetic rescue is off the table, she noted. But here's the part most people miss. Should conservationists always follow traditional guidelines, or is it time to rethink them based on emerging evidence? Could strict adherence to old rules be inadvertently dooming species that might otherwise thrive with a little genetic mixing? What do you think? Are the risks of genetic rescue overstated, or do they warrant caution? Share your thoughts and join the conversation. Banner image, a Pacific pocket mouse. Image via Animalia bio. https Animalia bio/Pacific Pocket Mouse. CC by SA 3.0. https creativecommons.org licenses by SA 3.0.